You're listening to Life as a Band Leader with Angela O'Neill and Outrageous 8 Records, where music meets real life and every story swings. From rehearsals to the spotlight, we're sharing the music, the mayhem, and the magic of leading a modern band.
Hey everybody, this is Angela O'Neill of Angela O'Neill and the Outrageous Eight, and more importantly, Angela O'Neill and Outrageous Eight Records YouTube channel. And we are happy today to be starting a brand new kind of fun podcast on our YouTube channel called Life as a Band Leader. And actually, we haven't starting it today. We started the end of last year with just recordings, video recordings of the Outrageous Eight rehearsing. And I thought to myself, there are some incredibly talented arrangers, composers, and band leaders, not just in Los Angeles, but all over the world. I'm not sure everybody knows what they do. So, with that, I invited my friend Elliot Deutsch to come and talk to us a little bit about, hey, Elliot,
Hello.
a little bit about his career in music, his life in music, his love of music, and his leading of, I think it's called the Pandemonium Big Band, or is it called Big
Yeah.
Band? Yeah, is that the way to say it?
Pandemonium Big Band.
Okay, which has
Yeah.
been around for how many years now?
I've called it Pandemonium Big Band since 2020, sort of a play on the pandemic. Uh,
Okay.
but I've been leading a big band since 2006, 2007. I think our first gig was in 2007. Uh,
hmm
and so it's really, I mean, it's had a lot of different iterations. I've changed the sort of the style I'm putting forward of what I'm doing a few different times during the course of the 19-year run.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
exactly, as you do,
yeah. So the band really has been going on since at least 2007.
which is
Um,
so impressive. That
yeah.
is so incredibly long. And it is, a very complicated endeavor with, is it 17 pieces in your band?
Yeah, 18 if you include me.
Oh,
Because
okay. All right.
yeah, I
Yeah.
never really play. Every once in a while I'll write a feature for myself, but usually I don't play when we perform. So it's 17 players plus me conducting.
Got it. Got it. Okay. And so funny enough, I think you and I went to the same alma mater. I actually went to UCLA also.
Oh
Uh,
yeah, go Bruins.
Yeah, I actually graduated from the theater arts department, and but I think you graduated in music. Is that right?
Yeah, I graduated ethnomusicology with an emphasis in jazz studies. That's where the jazz major was back when I went to UCLA.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And did you what level did you? Because then you went to Long Beach. Am I right?
Yeah. So I got my bachelor's in music in 2005 from UCLA, or in ethnomusicology, I guess. And then I went straight to work on my master's at Cal State Long Beach, and I finished in 2008.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Okay. And your master's was in the same.
Yeah, it's a master's of music in jazz studies specifically.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
It's really cool. And how did you end up in I think I read a little bit. I was kind of did a little bit of a deep dive on you last night. And
Good.
so you also come from, like I did, a family of musicians.
Sort of. So, I mean, there's a bit of musical history in my family. My grandfather um, was a musical inventor, and he went to college for music and then changed courses and finished in engineering,
Wow.
and worked as a musical inventor.
What did he invent?
Yeah, well, his sort of his he held over 200 patents for mostly for like designs for different small pieces of electronics that went inside of instruments. He did a lot of work at one point with the Allen Organ Company and then with Kawai and with Roland. And he was one of the main developers of the first digital pipe organ.
Oh, how cool is
Yeah.
that?
Which was a very big accomplishment. His cousin, Herb Deutsch, was the co-inventor of the keyboard synthesizer with Bob Moog.
Oh, wow.
So that was that, yeah, he is the famous one.
Yeah, that's quite a bit of family history
Yeah.
in music.
Yeah. And my father is a really solid musician himself, although he, got his doctorate in mathematics and worked his entire career at JPL.
Oh,
So
wow.
We have a big musical tradition in my family, but not a tradition of people actually becoming musicians.
Right.
There was
Well,
still a lot of pushback when I decided that's what I want to do with my life.
oh, yeah, yeah. It is an interesting point, though, that I'm sure you're well aware of, that not everybody probably knows. But there is an amazing, what's the word, similarity between math and music, those being both languages that don't require us to speak the same language, right? Like people don't realize, even if you're Chinese, you can still read the exact same music that we read. Same exact true with math. And a lot of
Absolutely.
people who are mathematicians are musical, i.e., Albert Einstein playing violin, etc. So it is an interesting correlation between those two worlds in your family.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And so, but everybody kind of ended up leaning towards the math end of it, and you ended up pursuing the musical part of it.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't know exactly why that is. I just, was drawn to it and didn't really see any other choice. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Did you have a moment in your life when you were a kid when you were like, I really enjoy this? Like, did you enjoy it more than other things when you were growing up?
yeah, of course. But I mean, that didn't matter because, my father seemed to get all of his enjoyment out of playing in different bands on the weekend and in the evening and stuff like that. And so I always saw it as something that I wanted to do, but for recreation,
Oh,
you know? And I actually went to college for mathematics originally and
oh,
switched to
how,
music midway there.
how funny.
Yeah, starting as a junior at UCLA, I was an ethnomusicology major, but before that, pure mathematics.
Wow, that is so
Yeah.
interesting to me. And of course, do you feel like that contributes? Certainly, I would think in your arranging and composing, I would think that that does contribute somewhat. Yeah, do you find?
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a bit of, you have to understand how things work and then apply it.
Yeah.
And composing and arranging is definitely solving a bunch of like miniature puzzles constantly. And so it is very similar to math, but at the same time, I feel like in order to compose music or perform, you kind of have to be brilliant. I think most of the instrumentalists that I work with are brilliant, like really, really smart people.
Mhm.
Um, I mean, every once in a while, you'll meet someone that's like a savant, right? That is not brilliant in most ways, but can somehow play guitar really well or whatever instrument. But most of the musicians that we interact with as, freelancers around town are really, really smart people that have just chosen to apply themselves to music.
Yeah, yeah, because there's and that's an interesting point because then it begs the question why you chose music over math at some point in your career. What was it that spoke to you more about music? I know why that is for me. And why do you think it is for you?
Well, I mean, I have to sort of think back to the part of my life when I actually made that decision, which was while I was in college, which was, well over 20 years ago now, half my life ago.
Right.
And so, I mean, for me, like even as a sophomore at UCLA, taking sort of high level math, math analysis and stuff like that, there
Mhm.
was still this like I'm going to learn all this really complicated math stuff because at some point I'll understand why it's useful to studying science or something. But see, I'll make a connection at some point where I can start applying it. And contrast that to my, jazz theory class where they show me, well, you can, reharm this melody by putting random bass notes and then justifying them with whatever chord fits and get this really wild sounding harmony. And then literally that afternoon after the lecture, I can go to a practice room and start reharming songs immediately.
Right.
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 And just sort of the immediate gratification of that was really, really spoke to me, I think.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's actually
And
a great point.
yeah. And there was also a bit of I just, my father, going back to that, is a really, really good musician. Where like I think if he had decided to become a musician, he would have done just fine.
Hmm.
And so I definitely had this idea that like if my dad's not good enough to be a professional, neither would I, right?
Yeah.
And because I assumed that's why he didn't do it, not because he wanted to do something else.
Right.
And
Right.
um, for me, a big turning point was I was convinced by one of my friends to go audition for this group called the Disneyland All-American College Band when I was
Okay.
in college.
Yeah.
Um, And, I went and did this audition. I remember going to the audition, like I put on what I thought were like nice audition clothes, which was like this sweater I had just bought from, the mall or whatever, and a pair of
Yeah.
jeans that didn't have holes in them. And
Yeah.
everyone else there was wearing like, suit and tie or like a dress or something. And I felt so underdressed and underprepared and
Yeah.
went in and got the gig, right?
Oh,
And that summer I showed up and it was a 20-piece band made up of, college students from all over the country. I guess they re-auditioned it every year. It was supposed to be like an honor thing to do it.
yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And I showed up to this thing and I was the only one of the 20 students there that was not a music major.
Oh,
And like I had this realization while I was during that summer that if I probably am good enough to do this, right?
right.
And that I shouldn't let that hold me back.
Yeah.
And I definitely had a feeling, even at UCLA when I was in my music classes, I was surrounded by my people, right?
Yeah.
And I had a lot of friends in the math department, but a lot of them seemed a lot more interested and dedicated to what they were learning than I was.
Yeah.
And I had that kind of drive over on the music side. And so at a certain point, I was like, who am I fooling? This is where I should be.
Yeah, yeah. How great. What a great realization. And thank God you realized it then, before you went through more study or more commitment to the math end of it
Oh
and
yeah.
realized and went forward with what your instinct said, which is was such a great thing. That should be encouraging to other kids, who are doing music and stuff like that. I hope it is, that there is a life. There is a life in music if that's what you choose. It's not easy for sure. And you talk, I can't remember, you were on another interview that I read yesterday. I think it was Voyage LA. And you were just talking about, as a freelancer that you've made every mistake that you could possibly, I think that's the end, that you
That
could
sounds right.
do, but you've learned a lot thanks to those mistakes, right? Which is
Oh, of course.
all of us can hope for.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so you graduate from Long Beach and what's your next step? You're a trumpet player, correct?
Yeah, I was a trumpet player. I still am a trumpet player.
Yes.
And I say that because the longer I've been writing, people forget that I'm actually an instrumentalist as well,
Right.
which is totally fine. But yeah,
But
so
it
when
is
I
important
yeah,
to define which instrument you are because, they always say like, people fall into their personality categories based on their instrumentation. I think it's actually a little bit true.
yeah, for sure. Um, so yeah, I started writing for big band when I was in graduate school at Long Beach.
Hmm.
I had a class with Jeff Jarvis, who leads the program there, who's also a very published big band composer, and he sort of helped me through writing my first few charts. I mean, the first one was literally the final project for his class.
Wow.
And then I had my master's recital coming up, and I thought, well, that chart went really well. I should write a few more of them and put a big band together for my recital. So I did that. And then I had this realization that, I'm really learning how to write. Like my second chart was much stronger than my first chart, and the third chart was so much stronger than my second chart.
Right.
That if I'm going to learn how to do this, I need to keep writing. And if I'm going to keep writing, I need to have a band to play what I'm writing.
Yeah, 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 for
At
sure.
that point, if
Stop
I
it.
had written something, Jeff would give me, maybe 15 minutes in front of the band, which was generous. Like he wanted to encourage us to write. But that's not the same
Hmm.
as so I'm going to pause this. So I'm going to put my computer on do not disturb so that we don't get another
No, mine's
email sound. My
done.
apologies. Um, yeah, but yeah, 15 minutes in front of the band is not the same as really rehearsing a piece and getting it. There's so much you can learn by hearing it played over and over again and talking
Yeah,
to the musicians and sort of finding out what you did right and what you didn't do right. Um, and so I realized I was gonna have to put my own band together in order to really get enough time with my arrangements and compositions. So that's what I did.
yeah. And so
And
kind of
yeah,
takes us to like what year are we at that point in
at
life?
that point, I think we're in 2006.
Okay. All right. So that's when the basics of Pandemonium kind of came together.
Yeah.
And so tell us, staying in tune with the theme of the podcast, tell us a little
Yeah.
bit about What's some of your responsibilities, which are literally everything, as the band leader of Pandemonium?
Yeah, so like there's God, so many responsibilities.
Uh,
I mean, there's practical responsibilities and then there's sort of musical responsibilities where like the musical responsibility, I feel like if I'm going to have a jazz project with my name on it, especially where I'm not playing trumpet
right.
as the featured performer, that the music has to have its own viewpoint and sort of, provide enough of its own value to what we're doing that I
Hmm.
have my own voice as part of our performance.
Yes.
Right. Like I'm not going to throw anyone specific under the bus, but there's some bands that I've seen where it's such and such big band, and you go and they're playing all these stock arrangements.
Right.
And it's sort
Right.
of I know that they did all the work that a band leader does, but they're not putting out any of their own music into the world.
Right. Right. Right.
Um, and I know if they're a featured performer, they're putting out their own performances, right? Like not everyone has to be a writer to be making their own musical statement, right? There are lots of ways you can do that. But when it's their own band and they're playing one of the inner parts and not featuring themselves all the time, I kind of wonder what the purpose of that band is.
You know
Like
what?
maybe it's more of a networking band than like an actual artistic project.
And yet I have to say, it's you bring up a really interesting point, and one that I find even with our small group, right? We're
Yeah,
octet. And we have two arrangers in the band.
yeah,
An embarrassment of riches. Um,
yeah,
Rocky Davis, our piano player, who's
yeah.
actually a
Excellent.
UCLA graduate also. Uh,
Nice. I didn't know that.
and I think with a doctoral in composition and
Oh my
arrangement,
goodness.
I think. And Harry Smallenberg, which is our trombone player. So,
Yeah,
and two very vastly different backgrounds, vastly different, especially because they're two very vastly different instruments. I
absolutely.
am so lucky to have two incredibly talented arrangers in our band. But and we really kind of shy away from takedowns. We do them sometimes, but for the most part, we kind of why not use original arrangements if you can? However, I do find it interesting because we play out a lot, and I get a lot of comments from people in the audience who are like, "Oh, I love that old, like we're doing a Frank Sinatra show this weekend. I love the real Frank Sinatra, arrangement of that tune." So there is a fair amount of pushback. Do you find
Hmm.
that as well with people that they're like, "Oh yeah, I love that Beatles song. Why didn't you guys play it the way the Beatles play it?"
I haven't really had
Okay.
that. Although that sounds infuriating though.
It's an interesting thing because people, audience members are hard enough to find in jazz and big band anyhow. And
Yeah,
sometimes they really want to hear what is sounds familiar to them.
no, for sure. And like
And
general public kind of shows are going to have that kind of pushback for sure. Where like your main job is to be entertaining and not to put some kind of artistic statement. Um, and
correct.
so people are going to have different expectations for sure. I've definitely had people come up and ask me why my music isn't danceable,
Right.
right? They see the word big band and they assume that it's going to be a danceable thing.
Yeah,
Um,
it's a really, I do the opposite of what you do. I have no people who are already engaged in our process. I have only the general public. And
yeah.
so it's an interesting thing. People who come to our shows a lot, now we've got them a little bit into, I do a game with the audience too. Harry Smallenberg's arrangements are so out
Oh yeah.
that I actually have the audience guess, and I give them a prize if they guess what tune it is. So
That's
that's
fun.
a way to get people to kind of really listen to, okay, the melody is gonna be in there somewhere, but it's gonna be hard to find, stuff like that. But yeah, I'm
Yeah.
just suggesting that's a silly game that I try to endeavor to get people to embrace the idea of it not being the arrangement that you've heard a million times.
No, I like that. I mean, I also like especially because I'm writing everything when
Yep.
I'm engaging the audience and during my shows, a lot of times I give the story of why I wrote the arrangement.
Yes.
And so a lot of it, if I'm going to do, I'll talk about, there's I'll say sometimes something like there's a an old tradition in big band music where arrangers will take a beautiful ballad and wreck it in some way, right? And sort of twist it and stretch it and take, a beautiful song and really make it into something that is different than what it began with. So my attempt at this great tradition of wrecking songs that you love um, is my version of The Way You Look Tonight. All right, here we go. One, two, three, four. Right? Um, and
Right.
so it's like kind of fun at that point. Like they know they're not going to hear the version that they know, and they'll
Yes,
have fun
you got
seeing
to
what
give
I
them a
did to
little
it.
warning. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like we do a chart of the very thought of you in 5/4. And
Oof.
uh I'll have to send it to you. Uh,
Yeah.
it's hilarious because I was like, and I'll always end by saying, and that is the lovely love song, The Very Thought of You, which is no longer a lovely love song the way we do it. And then we get a good laugh out of it. But at some point it grooves, right? It's all about
Yeah.
grooving it. If you find a little bit of swing in it somewhere, somehow after you play it a ton of times, sometimes you can.
Yeah.
Okay, so responsibilities of the band leader. So for
Okay.
you, you have even more than your normal person because you're writing the arrangements, you're
Oh
choosing
yeah.
which compositions you're going to create into arrangements.
Yeah.
You have a couple, just for the sake of our audience, you have a
Sure.
couple of great records out there. I actually watched one of your videos from the pandemic last night.
Nice.
Pretty cool composition, but I'm not remembering it. Replay and something.
Oh, repeal and replace.
Repeal and replace. Damn, that's a cool piece of music.
Thank you.
Yes, I loved it. And that is that on a record? I couldn't find it on a record.
Yeah. Okay. So, I mean, this is technology's fault. So, we'll talk about Pandemonium Big Band, the name of the band. So, when
Yes.
I first started the band, um, I didn't know what I wanted to call the band. Like I knew I didn't just want it to be like such and such name, jazz orchestra or big band. I decided if I was going to go with one or the other, I'd go big band because orchestra, at least to like 23-year-old Elliot, I thought that felt really pretentious.
Yeah.
Um, I don't feel either one way or the other about it now, but at the time, and but
It's got
I wanted a
a
cool
nice
name
profile.
like the Thundering Herd or something like that. But I just couldn't think of something that I was really happy with.
Yeah.
And we one of our early gigs was at the Jazz Bakery, and Ruth Price was like, "We need something for our calendar," and I was like, Elliot Deutsch Big Band," like. And so we just wrote that down, and that was on the calendar. And then we just started using it. Like it was fine, good enough, a good enough name.
Yeah.
And so my first two albums are out as Elliot Deutsch Big Band as the
I
artist.
saw that. Yeah.
Um, I have one from 2009 called Weeknight Music, and then one from 2014 called The Push.
hmm
And then after that, I decided that I was going to start releasing my albums under the artist name Elliot Deutsch.
Okay.
And the cover would say Elliot Deutsch, and then like and his 16, 17 piece big
Yeah.
band. Like
Yeah.
it definitely said that it was a big band record, but I thought I should just credit it, it should just be my name. Like I'm writing all the things, I'm budgeting, I'm paying for the whole session, and
Yeah.
nobody cares that the artist is Elliot George Big Band. But, Spotify and Apple Music don't sort those Elliot Deutsch albums together with Elliot Deutsch Big Band albums,
That's correct.
which is really annoying.
It really
And then when we changed to Pandemonium Big Band, um, I released an EP of the first 6 songs we did during the pandemic
hmm
under the name Elliot Deutsch, and the album's named Pandemonium Big Band.
Okay.
Which so it sorts correctly, but then what do I call the next Pandemonium Big Band release? So the whole thing's kind of a mess.
It is a mess. It is a mess in terms of trying to market things digitally. It becomes even more complicated when it's already, I think we have, as Outrageous 8 Records, I think we have 8 or 10 records somewhere
Nice.
on in digital land. But honestly, corralling all of it is almost impossible.
Yeah. So Repeal and Replace was from an EP I did called Make Big Band Great Again.
Oh yeah, I saw your hat.
Yeah, yeah, the MAGA Hat album. Yeah, so my advice to anyone who's a band leader listening to this is stay away from politics.
I thought of that when I saw your hat. I was like, ooh, bold.
Well, so you have to remember that I put this out in 2018,
Right.
right? So our now second term President Trump was first term President Trump pre-pandemic,
Right.
where it was coming right out of Obama. I mean, people have different political views, and that's fine, right? But I'm definitely on the liberal progressive side of the aisle myself, and at that point, I thought President Trump was kind of a buffoon,
Right.
right? I didn't really get scared of him until the pandemic, and
Right.
so like this was before you know, I, I wouldn't have made something with that artwork in 2020.
Right. Exactly.
It's way more triggering now than it was when I put it out.
Yes, yes,
That
yes.
makes sense.
No, no, no. It's contextual, and I took it as such when I saw it. I realized it was of
Absolutely.
an era,
Yeah.
and in
But I
fact,
don't like that because it's instrumental music, and I think it's some of the strongest music I've written.
yeah,
And it's, hampered by that artwork, and the names of all the songs are all sort of politically charged except for the ballad, which has nothing to do with that.
I mean, I can say personally, I don't mind it.
Yeah,
I realize things are of a time.
of course.
We did an amazing track of a Don Henley song called New York Minute,
Yeah.
which for me, I was motivated to want to choose that song that Rocky did an incredible arrangement for, because I will never forget those refrigerator trucks lined up in New York City. I will never
Yeah.
forget that. For me, that is worth not forgetting. So I looked at that personally and I was like, oh, that was of an era, and we're
Yeah.
now further forward than that.
Oh
So,
yeah.
yeah, I mean, regardless of that, I think the music is amazing. I
Thank
watched
you.
a couple of your things. We also did, God, I don't know, 4 tunes or something during 2020
Wow.
that we recorded remotely, and
Yeah.
and that is really challenging.
Oh
Um,
yeah. I think we did
uh,
11 or 12 of them.
Ooh, baby,
Yeah, it was a lot.
dang.
Yeah, I didn't have a lot of other things going on. So,
That's the thing. It surely was freeing because there was nothing else to do.
yeah.
But yeah, so your band sounds incredible. Your arrangements are really very distinct, and very inventive. And I'm a huge follower of big band. I got into this thing by singing with big bands,
Of course.
and then kind of like talked to a couple of the guys in the big bands, and I was like, so what do you guys, how do you make a living in this? And they're like, oh, we don't make any money from this. And I'm like, huh?
Yeah.
Um, and I said, well, why don't we make a smaller group? So da 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 da, and then
Oh
we're
yeah.
here today. But that sound, that incredible wall of sound that's created by 17 instruments, there is nothing that sounds like that.
Yeah.
And how now, as the life as the band leader, so arrangements and compositions, I'm sure you organize all the rehearsals.
Absolutely. I call all the musicians, I organize I mean, we the sort of the dirty secret is we don't really rehearse anymore.
And
So we did our first performance with Pandemonium Big Band of the year this last weekend.
oh,
And our rehearsal was in the afternoon right before the gig.
oh wow, so you're nice and warmed up.
Yeah, well, it was a 40-minute performance. And
Yeah,
we did like a 70-minute rehearsal in the afternoon to get ready for it.
yeah, yeah,
So yeah, there's
exactly.
no reason to
Be
waste it.
done. That can be
But
done for sure.
yeah, yeah. Um, but yeah, so speaking to that, like as long as I've had the big band, I've had a couple of gigs that were profitable, but usually like I'm happy if we can break even,
Yeah,
right? Like if I promise a certain amount of money to each player, if I'm able to make enough money on the door to cover my costs and make zero, I'm ecstatic,
yeah,
right? And so like even with that, like the musicians are getting paid a lot less than they deserve.
hmm
Um, they're all excellent. And so like the question I guess is why would anyone do a big band?
yeah,
Right. And so it's definitely has to be an artistic thing. And so like I kind like it is certainly as far as the big band's concerned, I kind of live by this like gig triangle. I don't know if you've heard about this before
no,
or not. And once I start talking about it, you probably will. But there's basically sort of the three corners of the triangle. that, a gig can have, right? And it's the music, the
Yeah.
money, and the hang,
Oh yeah. Yeah, of course.
right?
Yeah.
And in order to, if you're deciding whether or not to do the gig, it has to have two,
Yes.
right?
Right.
And like I basically know that the money is almost never going to be there.
Hmm.
So the music has to be great
Yeah.
and the hang has to be great,
Has to be.
right? And so for me, like I'll put so much time into making sure my band is impeccable every single time. And it's to the point where I've canceled rehearsals because I couldn't get one of the three or four drummers I trusted to be there.
Oh my gosh.
Because
You're
I,
singing with that.
after like probably making 50 phone calls in order to get the rest of the band lined up,
Yeah.
um, then my third or fourth call drummer needs to bow out. And granted, third or fourth call drummer is still an incredible drummer, so I don't mean that as a
Well,
hit
no,
on them.
and they're all,
Yeah,
yeah.
but I've literally canned rehearsals because for me, every single time the band plays, I
Mhm.
want it to be the best band that everyone that's there gets to play in. And that's impossible, obviously. But like the longer I've been doing it,
Yeah.
um, the more impossible that's become, right? That gig last weekend, the first time we played, I lost my drummer, my lead alto player, and my guitarist
Oh,
um, to Gordon Goodwin, who was on tour that weekend. Like Gordon just took them. It's fine. Like
right.
I found great players to fill all their spots, and the show went great.
Yeah. Yeah.
But like that's I'm when you have great players, they're going to get other opportunities. Uh,
Absolutely. I mean,
and
I
so
have,
you
I have
yeah,
three rehearsal Wednesday. Just saying.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Of eight, right?
yeah, absolutely.
So that's just how it is. And obviously you can't ever hold it against a professional musician
Oh
for
no.
taking another gig that either offers more opportunity for some time in the future
Yeah,
that they feel that is really going to be a thing,
yeah,
or it's more money. I mean, honestly, the money is so
yeah.
scarce. You couldn't possibly expect anyone to turn down a good paying gig. No
Yeah,
way.
I mean, I've got a big band, a thing for Pandemonium Big Band. We're playing a high school jazz festival. By the way, if you've never played a high school jazz festival, it is the best show you can book.
Really?
They're so fun.
Oh my
So
gosh.
basically, all the young musicians are there all day competing, or sometimes not competing, but
Yeah.
getting, adjudicated and clinicked. And then at the very end of the day, they do like an award ceremony. If it was a non-competitive festival, they're giving out awards for like best tenor player of the day or whatever.
Oh, that's
And
awesome.
if it's competitive, it'll be like in the first place in this division gets this, and second place, okay. It doesn't matter. They do an award ceremony at the end of the day, and they'll hire a professional band to play right before the award ceremony.
Yeah.
They bring all the kids back into the main concert hall, and they get to watch a professional band.
Wow.
I've never played for a better audience than at these kind of things. And so,
Amazing. I've
yeah,
seen Kubis do that with high school students who come in actually and sit in with his band on.
yeah. Well, Kubis, like he has his monthly gig, and he invites high school bands to open for him,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
is great. But
Yeah.
like, imagine having 10 or 12 of those high school bands just watching you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
no one's a better audience than a young musician.
Yeah.
They totally get it.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I was asked to play this high school jazz festival, but it's a Saturday night. And it pays like a big band gig,
Yeah.
right? Because that it has to, because they don't have a huge budget. It's a high school.
Yeah.
And um so yeah, as expected, people are like, yeah, I'm available now, but we'll see what happens. And as it's getting closer, people are dropping out, and I'm
Yeah.
making more and more phone calls, and hopefully the band doesn't turn over an entire other time before the thing happens.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the hope and the prayer.
Yeah.
Exactly. So that's another thing that band leaders spend just an inordinate amount of time doing is going through their Rolodexes.
Yeah.
looking for folks who hopefully have played with the band before, so they kind of know the vibe.
Yeah.
And because people who are brand new, I don't know about your arrangements, but when I throw one of Harry Smallenberg's crazy arrangements at people, they're like, I actually had somebody, again, unnamed, walk up to me and hand me their book and say, I will never play this book again. And I was like, why? And they're like, it's so hard. I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't want to. It makes me sad inside. I was like, oh God, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
So
a bummer.
people are used
I
to the
did,
takedowns.
yeah.
They want to sight read the takedowns and have that be their musical life.
Yeah, that's no good. I definitely like over time, my arrangements have gotten easier and easier.
Oh, really?
Um, oh
That's
yeah, big
interesting.
time. When I first started writing, I had this. I mean, you have to think of it in terms of, like a student in music school, right? So as a professional now, like I'm 42 years old, I've been a professional trumpeter since I left college
Right.
when I was 23 or 24, whatever. And um, what the hardest music, the most difficult music I ever had to play was the music that I played while I was in college.
Yes.
Um, like so I was in college at UCLA playing difficult music, and then toward the end of being in college and during the summer before grad school, I went on tour with Solomon Burke, who is this big soul music guy.
Mhm.
Famous. We played jazz festivals all over the world. The music was incredibly easy. Like it's stupid easy.
Right.
Where like sometimes we'd play songs I'd never heard before and I'd pick them up by like the first 10 seconds of the song and keep playing.
Yeah.
Right. Um, and like that's an extreme the other direction, but most gigging bands, the music is a lot easier than the stuff you play in school. But when I first started my band, I was still in school. And so
Right.
I had this idea, it's certainly in the school band, we'd have songs that we played over and over again and rehearsed up to performance level that were incredibly difficult.
Yeah.
And then, we'd have some subsequent performances where it would be like, well, we're doing the music of Count Basie, and they'd pull out all these Neil Hefti charts, and we'd just learn them in a couple of rehearsals and then play. And so, in my mind, the difficult music had more value than the easier music,
Right.
right? And so, when I was trying to write, I wanted to convince everyone I was a great writer. And so, what's great music? It's incredibly difficult and takes rehearsal.
Yeah.
And so I'd write this really, really tough music and we'd rehearse it and it would eventually sound good. But if I had like a substitute piano player, a substitute lead trumpet or something, the whole band would fall apart.
Yes.
Um, and I guess the more I've done it, I've realized, well, if I really have an important moment and it's going to be difficult, that just is what it is.
Yeah.
But if it's not an important moment, I should write it in a way that they're almost never going to screw it up.
Right. Right. Right.
Because
Right.
like I feel like my role as an arranger is to come up with a vision for whatever song I'm doing, whether it's an original or an arrangement of a famous song.
Hmm.
And I want to make that arrangement become reality,
Yeah.
right? So I'm
Right.
writing music so that the band can play it and have my vision come to life, right? And if I can have my vision come to life with a single rehearsal rather than five rehearsals, like I've done a better job.
Yes.
And so, my music that I've written over the last 5 or 6 years is much easier than the music I wrote before that.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I'm only becoming, my music only gets virtual, like super, super difficult when it's super important for it to do that.
Right, exactly. It's interesting you should say that because you make me think of I actually have sung a lot of Bill Holman charts.
Oh,
And
yeah,
I think you comment about him in one of the interviews I read. He's
sure.
a fascinating arranger to me because his charts are difficult to play, but only in moments. He
Yeah.
gives the players relief. From how difficult, and then he'll do a really difficult section, and
Mhm.
then he'll give you a little bit of a break, and then he'll do another really difficult section, and you're like, oh, isn't that interesting? So dissonance and the whole business thrown in difficult
Yeah.
to play little sections that are really hard to nail, but they're also pleasing in some way. What I find really interesting is that difficult but pleasing combination is interesting as an arranger and a composer, I bet.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, for me too, coming up with something that's really satisfying to listen to that isn't difficult,
Hmm.
is like a virtue,
Yeah.
right? Like that's what I'm aiming for.
Yes, absolutely.
Um, I mean, and I take it to extremes now, where I'll tell myself when I'm writing a new arrangement, I'm not going to write lead trumpet over a concert B flat. It's high C, which is normally like that's the high note the high school kid is having trouble hitting.
Yep.
But a pro, that's nothing,
Yep.
right?
Right.
And so, but as a trumpeter, I know that trumpet can sound brilliant, and it sounds like a lead trumpet even below a high C,
Correct.
right? You can get a lead trumpet sound an F below that,
That's right.
or a concert E flat below that, right?
Yeah.
Um, and so if I write most of my lead trumpet between E flat and B flat, it's going to be something they're never ever going to miss.
Yeah.
And if I go up to like concert E's and F's, then it's going to be a moment that they miss a lot of the time,
Right.
even with great players.
Right. Or again, if you have a sub and that person doesn't happen to have high notes, and then you're really stuck. I mean, I
Yeah.
think somebody who really knew that was Dave Wolpe.
Oh yeah.
I think Wolpe's an amazing arranger. His arrangements are extremely pleasing, very pleasing to listen to, amazingly pleasing to sing. The instrumentalists, for the most part, are not super, super challenged. His high school kids can play them, college kids play them, pros play them.
Oh
And
yeah.
and that's pretty amazing as an arranger to hit that. I mean, I've seen high school bands nail his arrangements. When I'm
Oh yeah.
looking for something to hear one of his arrangements, he's somebody who certainly knew that concept.
Yeah. So when I'm writing, I'm usually trying to come up with. I mean, with Wolpe, I think he's trying to come up with a really satisfying way to play a song that's also not surprising,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah,
Um, it's and I know he just passed away this year. So I'm saying this in the most positive way possible, that
right.
like, he's making, hamburger and French fries,
Yep.
right?
And
Um,
beer and French fries
where
are delicious.
yeah, where like I'm trying to make music that's like a little more challenging
Sure.
to the listener,
Yeah. You're
but not in a way that like makes it hard for the
a
musicians to
peppercorn
play.
steak. You're making a peppercorn steak.
Making a peppercorn
Still
steak.
meat,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, I
more
mean, yeah.
complicated.
Yeah, it's still supposed to be palatable, but have like some surprises in it. Right.
Exactly, exactly. Yeah. And so I mean this is an amazing conversation about I think being an arranger, about running a big band. What are your aside from being able to workshop your pieces, which is unbelievably helpful I think to arrangers and I think of the like you say as few rehearsals as you can do to
Yeah.
get as beautiful a performance as possible. Sometimes that's amazingly difficult, especially if again you're into the subs thing, right? If it's the
Yeah.
same people playing the parts, it's amazing, but inevitably people take off, and then that makes that harder.
Yeah.
Um, I remember when I went to music camp, we would do the thing where it was like a 6 week music camp, and
Yeah.
we would do incredibly complicated classical pieces, but we started rehearsing them the first day. We rehearsed them for 6 weeks,
Yeah.
right? And they sounded amazing. I play oboe, by the way. I know.
Beautiful.
That says a lot about me. I realize that. But it was first chair oboe, and that tells you a lot too. And 6 weeks later, it was splendid, but we just don't have that in our lives these days. Not really.
Yeah. Yeah, what I found so early on in my big band, I tried to do regular rehearsals because I had this dream, I guess. I had two dreams for my
Yeah,
band originally. First was it would be really great if we could get a regular gig somewhere and have it build into something like the Vanguard Jazz Orchestra or something.
yeah,
Now, LA does not have something like that, and I don't know if it ever will because we don't really have the scene for that.
yeah.
But that was one dream, and the other dream that I had was much more practical, which was I could have a band where the people in the band had enough ownership of their seats that if they couldn't be at rehearsal, they'd send their own sub, and I wouldn't have to make a million phone calls every time.
Hmm.
That also never happened. And so basically, at one point, I went to as much as a rehearsal every other week.
Right.
This maybe the second year of doing my band. I thought every week was too much because I'd be spending my entire life making phone calls.
Yes.
Um, but every other week maybe would be fine. That had the bad problem of I had to remind everyone that rehearsals were happening on the weeks they were because they'd forget whether we were on an on or an off week.
Correct.
Uh, and it also had and we never got to the point of people calling their own subs, But what did happen was that the band got really bored with my music pretty quickly. Like it was a good band, and my music wasn't boring. It was just like we'd play it and be like, "Well, we already know how to play this. Why are we spending more rehearsal time on it?"
Right. Right.
Um, like it's not worth just getting together and playing the same music over and over again. My book wasn't big enough yet. It still probably isn't to sustain. I mean, I've got, a hundred charts or something in my book
Yeah.
now. I'm not writing as much for myself as frequently as I used to, but
Yeah.
still, I've amassed this huge library. But um, yeah, it was just impossible. There was no way for me to make it important for us to rehearse every other week.
Right.
Because I couldn't write fast enough to
Mm-hmm.
have new music every time. If we had
Right.
one new piece every time, it would justify them showing up.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
Because
We do the thing where we do a rehearsal, depending on what the material is. We do
yeah,
a rehearsal or maybe two rehearsals
yeah,
for
absolutely,
show, and then we take a week off.
yeah.
And for the most part, our band works twice a month.
Oh,
Um,
beautiful,
yeah, so that kind of works out. And there's months we do a second Saturday, just like you're saying, at a gig
nice.
at the place where
Yeah,
we do residency. And it sounds like that's what you would want to do too.
yeah. We
Band.
did a thing like that a couple of times. When I first started the band, we played every month at a place called Santa Monica Bar and Grill. That's not there anymore.
Oh, sad.
Yeah, I mean, we had nothing to do with that. It was full whenever we were there.
Right, right, right. No, I mean, sad that it's gone because so many
Yeah,
visitors have
it's
gone
gone
under.
a long time ago. They closed out in 2009,
Okay.
and we closed it out. The quick story, I had planned to do a show for my birthday there that year. We booked it. We're promoting it as my birthday show, and I knew that tons of people were coming out to this thing.
Yeah,
And I'd hired a photographer to come and take photos of us because
right.
we didn't have any photos yet. And
Yeah,
this is 2009 when people's smartphones didn't really do that yet.
right, right. Not what.
Um, and yeah, I got a call 2 days before we were supposed to play from the owner apologizing and saying that tonight's gonna be our last night. We're closing. Sorry, your gig's in 2 nights, but it's not happening. And I
Oh,
told him, well, is your lease up or what's happening? You should open
place
up.
space or what?
So I convinced him to open up again for my
Oh,
show because we had so many people coming.
yeah.
It was understaffed, but they must have sold. Whatever alcohol they had left, just sell, sell it,
That's
right?
a great story.
Yeah. So we closed that place out, and then a few years later, I did maybe 10 months in a row at Vitello's back when April Williams was booking it,
Yep.
um, which
I
was
think
also really fun for us. But something about it being upstairs and
yeah.
it was a little. You have to play the right places for where your band is at.
Hmm.
And when I was a band full of, late 20s, early 30s people, most of our friends are musicians. Like they couldn't afford to go to Vitello's.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love Vitello's, but
Too. I mean, it's gone, but yes.
yeah, yeah. I mean, it's not gone. It's just gone as a venue.
Yes, that's what I
I've
mean.
gone there. I've gone there for I've taken my wife there on a date. It's still a lovely place.
Yeah,
But yeah, they don't do music anymore, which is a real shame.
it is.
But
It really is. That was such a beautiful room. And
but we never, yeah.
there isn't really another room in LA that's kind of cabaret meets jazz in terms of its
Yeah.
like intimacy, if that makes
Yeah.
sense.
Oh,
Yeah.
my fun story about Vitello's was when I was there every week. I mean, every month. Sorry, we were doing once a month.
Yeah.
Um, we weren't pulling enough people in every month.
Right.
I mean, some months were really good, but then other months we would, have barely more people in the audience than we had on stage, right?
Right.
Which
Right.
is a real shame. Like the band would still have fun, but it's not good for the venue, and they're not going to want to keep us with that. And they came up to me after one and said, "We love your band, but we need to do something to get more people in here." And they said, we could recommend, we know this really great young singer, and she can come and sing with you. And first of all, I don't remember who they were recommending, but it didn't matter because they didn't have their own charts. So
Oh,
like the idea of having someone come, but I also have to come up with a bunch of charts for them to play was not something that I was willing to put enough time into to really make it worthwhile.
right.
Um, you know, yeah, quick side note. The few times we've had gigs that wanted us to have like a Sinatra type singer,
Yeah.
the best person to get is oh, why am I blanking on his name? Um, well, anyway, he's great because he has his own charts. He brings his own books. You don't have to do anything.
Yeah, most
Um,
band singers do have their.
Yeah, as they should. And if anyway, they're like, well, line up a guest that can help you bring in people, find a singer or something. And so I did the opposite of their like young singer that they wanted, and I got a 99-year-old composer.
Oh,
Yeah, I asked, and he's not with us anymore, but it was Van Alexander
oh yeah,
from ASMAC.
yes.
He was a real fan of what I was doing and very complimentary. And I was like, will you come and we'll do some of your music if you want to come and conduct the band at Vitello's as my guest.
How
And
cool.
he's like, I don't know if I can get up the stairs. But then he decided that he was going to just do it anyway.
They end
Um,
up getting one of those little chairs that can go.
yeah, but they didn't have it then. So he had, like two people, one person helping him and somebody else behind, making sure he didn't fall,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
like got him up there. And we did it, and that place was packed. Like every single seat was sold out, and there were people in the hallway like listening through the open
Love
doors because
that.
they couldn't get in.
Yeah.
Because I think it was his last performance.
Wow.
We didn't know that at the time,
Yeah, of
obviously. Like
course.
I hoped it wouldn't be, but
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
he just didn't get to stand in front of a band very often anymore at that point.
Yeah, yeah. Oh,
Um,
that's a great story. Yeah, I loved Vitello's, and we went kind of straight from there to the Write-Off Room. Did you guys ever play at the Write-Off
we
Room?
did. We played there twice.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a nice venue. Again, it's gone.
Yep.
Yeah. So that's kind of too bad.
Yeah.
But so back to life as a band leader. So you have this band, you make your 5,000 phone calls, you've done
Yep.
your arrangements, you continue to probably introduce new arrangements
Yeah. Absolutely.
per the occasion, kind of. And so how are you able to maintain like getting gigs? What's your process to go and get gigs? I think everybody wonders who doesn't work in the music industry how one goes about doing that.
Yeah, I mean it's tough. So you have to look for opportunities, but when you're talking about booking a big band specifically, again, there isn't a lot of money in big band, and so when you approach a jazz venue, you really want to make them feel safe that when they have you play there, there are going to be people in the seats buying drinks and food,
Right.
right? And so I learned at a certain point when I'd approach a venue, I'd say, you know, look, we performed at these other venues, and we would regularly have, 80 to 100 people in the audience.
Yeah.
And I see no reason why it would be any different at your venue.
Right.
And like if that was what I've found is most of the venues don't really care about what the band sounds like.
No, not at
As
all.
like frustrating as that is. And they do because they don't want a band that sounds completely amateur to be up there when, somebody who doesn't know their venue walks in for the first time.
Correct.
But beyond a certain level, though, they don't care. They
No.
don't care if it's me playing trumpet or whether it's, you know, uh, someone good, Terrence Blanchard playing trumpet,
So
right?
good.
Like I'm good enough that it's not going to wreck their club.
Right.
Um, but it's not as good as Terrence Blanchard. And when I'm putting a big band together, I'm trying to make it, again, the best band around,
Yeah.
right? But the venue doesn't care about that. They care about whether there's going to be enough people there to make enough money and continue being a jazz venue.
Correct.
And I totally understand that. And
However,
so I have to approach them with like that level of
that,
business.
it doesn't hurt their venue to have real musicians, like really famous musicians, be
No,
attracted to their venue to see great music. That does
for
not
sure.
hurt whatsoever. So there is that part of it. There's always a cachet involved in music, and if you attract as a band great musicians that want to hear your one of a kind Elliot Deutsch
Absolutely.
arrangements, it's not a bad thing.
Absolutely. Um, that definitely helps. I think it also helps that considering that it's a big band and it doesn't make a lot of money.
Yeah.
And and part of having it be a great band is I want to have the best possible players on every single chair.
Yes.
Um, it also is better for me to put the gig on like a Monday or a Tuesday night
Huh.
than it is for a Friday or a Saturday. It's easier to get the audience on a Friday or a Saturday, but
Yes,
it's much easier to get the strong band on a Monday or Tuesday.
that's true. That's
And
true.
so, because there isn't a lot of money to be made anyway, I'm more likely to book the Monday or the Tuesday
Okay,
so that I can have the people that I want in the
that's
band.
interesting. Yeah.
Um, and like the more I've been doing YouTube, the more I found that, if I can have like 50 or 60 people in the audience and it feels good, if I can get some videos out of it, then thousands of people will see it on YouTube.
Yes.
And so I, eventually get a lot of people hearing my music either way.
Yeah, yeah. You know, the I'm going to sing on the 30th, I think, with the Psych Band, um,
Beautiful.
which is you know that band.
Yeah,
And
when are you going on Wednesday?
yeah, the
I'll see
30th.
you there.
Are you playing?
I'm playing this week.
Get out. Oh no, I'm going to be there the 30th. I think that's the week after. It's the
Oh,
Wednesday.
well, I haven't heard yet then. I'm not
Okay.
I'm not I'm not one of their regulars, but
Okay. Well,
my
hope
Wednesdays have recently reopened, so I told
that would
him,
be
whenever
really
they need
fun.
stuff, I'm happy to come and play.
But what a great concept they have, of the live feed with the incredible miking and incredible mixing and kind of what I would call, for want of a better word, like technical directing. They're
Sure.
they're cutting between, the soloists are playing and stuff. People don't realize how difficult that is. But what a great way to get exposure for big bands. And actually I see a lot of people commenting and a lot of people following.
Yeah, well, that's good.
I mean, that seems
Um,
like a good way to get attention just to the big band sound,
sure,
to get people interested in it.
for sure.
Yeah. And so let's say it's, I know it's the beginning of the year now. Certainly the end of the year, like Christmas and stuff like that, is really strong for big bands, right? Do you guys do like a Christmassy kind of thing in general? Do you have a Christmas book or
I
Christmas?
have a Christmas book. I mean, I've been putting, adding tunes to it since
Yeah.
I started the band, basically.
Yeah.
Um, or I guess I started my Christmas book back in 2010 or something like that. We applied for and got put on this thing called the LA Holiday Celebration,
Okay.
uh,
Oh
which
yeah. I've
yeah, it's a
seen.
thing that yeah, the city of LA puts on this concert at the
Yeah.
Dorothy Chandler and then puts it on TV.
Yeah.
And I wrote an arrangement for us to apply for that performance, and then when they added our band to the show, they're like, "We need you to do another song also." And I was like, "Great!" And so I wrote a second chart. Um, and then since
He's
then, I've just been adding Christmas charts every year that I have a Christmas gig, and so I've got, I don't know, a dozen Christmas charts or something at this point.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And that's because that's a great time of year, I think, for the big band sound. I associate, that big band sound kind of with that time of year. So it's particularly applicable. Now
In
it's
fact, really, really quick, if anyone wants to hear what one of the arrangements that I'm more proud of over the last few years was an arrangement I did of Sleigh Ride during the pandemic.
I heard that actually last night. It's very cool because you guys did a recording of it.
Yeah, we recorded it remotely. That
Yeah,
was so speaking of remote recording,
yeah,
um, when I first started it, I was like, I'm only going to do tunes that we've already played and rehearsed because, they know how we're going to want to. We've already made the performance decisions and stuff like that.
yeah,
As the pandemic went on longer and longer, I just was like, I'm just going to write some things and we're just going to play some stuff and just see how it goes, right?
yeah.
So that was one that I actually finished during the pandemic. We had never played it together as a band
Oh, really?
and just did it remotely. Yeah.
It sounds so good, so interesting. It's such a great tune anyway. I love that tune.
Oh yeah.
And you, I think, brought its best out with
Thank
that.
you.
Yeah, very much so. Now, speaking of that, not only do you arrange for the Pandemonium, but just in following your career, in conjunction with leading that big band, you also do a ton of compositions and arrangements for other folks.
Absolutely. Um, yeah, I mean, so just speaking to young musicians, I guess, is sort of keep your options open. So when I was in college and even into grad school, I had this vision that I'd become a studio trumpet player or a touring trumpet player. Like I'd done a little bit of touring. I thought it'd be really fun to, you know, make a career out of the touring scene or something like that. A life that I wouldn't have actually wanted to have, but I
Right.
thought I wanted it. But as when I got into writing, I think I just have a lot more aptitude for writing. Like playing trumpet has never come easy for me,
Right.
right? Like some trumpeters um, can, play a high G in their freshman year of high school and like all that kind of stuff. It just something it's I think it's more aptitude than like some kind of inert talent or something like that. But there's something about the way my brain works and my sensibilities. Writing really made a lot of sense for me.
Right.
And as I continued to do it, I developed my skills pretty quickly. And it wasn't very long before I was getting gigs as a writer that I would never get as a trumpeter,
Oh, okay.
right? Like writing for a session that has like Peter Erskine and Wayne Bergeron on it or something. Like
Right.
there's no gig that Wayne Bergeron's playing lead trumpet on that they would also call me to play trumpet for.
Right.
Right.
Right. I
And
got
that's
it.
okay. I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Because in order to be, if he's trumpet player number one, if it's a four trumpet gig, they want to have trumpet players 2 through 3 on the gig. Maybe they'll go down to trumpet player 8 or 9 or 10 if
Yeah.
they need to on some of those chairs. But like if I'm trumpet player 50, I'm just never going to be called for that gig.
Right. Right.
Um,
Right.
that doesn't mean that I'm a bad player. It's just like they're exceptional,
Right.
right?
Yes.
And in a very realistic way, I was figuring out that maybe there's a bit of me that's exceptional in that way, but as a writer and not as an instrumentalist.
Yes.
And so those opportunities were opening up for me as a writer, and so I kind of leaned into it really hard.
Yeah, yeah. It seems like you did some really cool compositions for stuff kind of fairly recently that
Yeah.
came up, right?
Yeah, like very, very, very recently, I was asked. A friend of mine actually had this gig first, and then he got really sick in the week that he was supposed to. He was supposed to write 2 charts for the uh, White House Christmas tree lighting,
That's what I was thinking of.
and he called me up. He said, "Look, I'm not." Excuse me. He's like, "I'm not feeling quite healthy enough to eke out both of these charts.
Right.
Um, how do you feel about writing one of them?" I said, "I feel great about it. Let's do it." Right. And so, I had, 6 or 7 days to write this thing,
Wow.
maybe even less than that. I forget it. It felt really quick. I think it was 6 or 7 days, but I already had commitments for several of those days
Right.
because, of course, I'm a working professional
Yeah.
before I get that phone call. And
Yeah,
so, um,
exactly.
so I ended up with a couple of days before it was due that I could actually like work this thing out. But yeah, I got to do an arrangement and it was sung by Mickey Guyton, who I wasn't familiar with, but apparently very famous country singer,
Okay.
and played by the Airmen of Note. And it was on CBS.
Which
We
is so cool,
It was
man.
super cool. When the actual thing was televised, um, we had a bunch of friends and family over and ordered some pizza and watched the live thing. It was bizarre,
And
and because a lot of times, even when I'm writing for like I a bunch of years ago, a hero of mine, John Clayton, asked me to write a few arrangements for this Kennedy Center show that he was musical directing.
really cool.
Huge honor. Uh,
Yes.
and so I got to work on these things and like take him over to his house and we'd like work through it and he'd go, "This chord is probably not right," and we'd fix it and it was incredible,
Oh
right?
my
And
God.
then we finished the arrangements and sent him to his copyist, and then he flew to DC and they played it with the orchestra and I wasn't there and didn't get to hear it. Right? Like
Oh,
that's how it goes as an arranger a
yeah,
lot of the time.
for
Uh,
sure.
or even worse, like I knew with John Clayton, they were played immaculately, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Um, there have been other times where I've been hired to write stuff and I put all kinds of myself into it. And then I hear the record where I wasn't there when they got to record it and they, sped the thing up or changed the groove or just played it sloppily.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, I can't share this with anybody ever. And it's a real drag. But this
That is a drag.
a great opportunity where it was going to be played by the Airmen of Note and it was on TV. And so, yeah, we were, eating popcorn and having, tequila or whatever we do at my house
Exactly.
and watching
Celebrate.
this thing on television.
Yeah.
That, a couple weeks earlier, I was like right here in my office, like sitting in my pajamas writing.
I mean, that's so satisfying. That's
Really,
great.
really satisfying.
Yes.
Cool experience.
Yes. Well, I mean, you're an incredible composer, an incredible arranger. I love your stuff that's on YouTube. For those folks who are watching, tell them the information about finding your music because it is a challenge in this
Absolutely.
world.
Yeah, and unfortunately, so YouTube is easy. Just look for Pandemonium Big Band.
Okay, there you go.
I'm very fortunate to I know we're trying to wrap it up. I'll give you the very quick lowdown on Pandemonium Big Band's YouTube
You don't have
channel.
any time
Which
limit. Take your
yeah.
time.
So during the pan so I really got into YouTube, just I was watching so many like live music videos,
Yeah.
and I thought at a certain point it's like I need to have there were some videos of my band. But they were like ones that other people recorded at gigs, and some of them were good and some of them were bad.
Right.
I thought I need to be in control of my own digital presence. Like
Right.
people are going to discover my music, it should be a good performance of my music.
Hmm.
Um, and so in 2016, I got my band together at this little studio and we like we recorded one song the first time, and then we did this three times before the studio raised the rates on us and we stopped doing it because I
Right.
couldn't afford to. But yeah, we did five of those videos. If you look way back at the beginning of my YouTube, you'll find
Okay.
these things. And then, but yeah, they never got much traction at all. And it were a lot of work to put together. And, I kind of lost the drive to keep pushing at YouTube. And like they'll sit there, people discover them. That's great.
Right.
Um, and then during the pandemic, what happened was, I don't know how you found out about virtual videos. I found out because there was this artist in New York. He goes by Chad Elby. I think his name's Chad Lefwitz Brown. He's this tenor sax player, and he
Okay.
put a big band together doing a remote big band. He called it the Chad Elby Virtual Big Band, and I forget what song they did. Um, but because it was kind of the first one it was all people in New York, which shut down before LA,
Yeah.
and they put this thing out maybe 2 weeks after the shutdown,
Uh-huh.
and it got like all kinds of press and like all these views, and it was a fun thing, right? Didn't
Yeah.
sound great, but it was fun.
Yeah.
I mean, the playing was immaculate. It's just like the mixing and recording. They were still figuring out how to do
It's
it.
yeah, such a nightmare.
And
Put it all together.
so then a few different people in my band were like, Elliot, when are we going to do this? We should do one of these. Jump on this gravy train. But I think also they thought, look, this seems like a fun thing that we can actually do together, so we should do
Yeah.
it. And so we did. And I thought it came out really good. The first one came out really, really great. So we did another one, which also came out really great, and I kept releasing them.
Yeah.
And after about 10 of these things, they all sounded great, and my video skills were getting better. Um, but like people weren't watching them, right?
Right.
And I put them out and they'd get about, 200 hits or something in the first week or two, and then just sort of sit stagnant.
Yeah.
And I'd see other people releasing things and thinking, well, like, how come theirs are getting thousands of hits and mine only get like 200 hits? I think that mine sounds better, or it sounds as good.
Right.
Who knows why, right? And you can get really in your head about this kind of stuff. And I decided, well, instead of getting in my head about it, I'd try to do something about it. So what I did was the other way that I like to use YouTube, besides watching music videos, is watching how-to videos to learn how to do things.
Sure.
So I started making how-to videos. First, I did ones about how to record yourself from home, right?
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, didn't really hit very well because I think I did it much too late, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
people that needed to do this already had figured it out. But eventually, like three or four of these things in, I did one on how to do closed voicing.
Oh.
I was like, I'm just going to jump into big band orchestration.
Oh, cool.
And those took off.
Yeah.
And I start my channel basically pivoted from music videos to how to write for big band.
Oh, how cool is that? That's a great
And
idea.
that's where all the growth came from. I mean, we're at like 15,000 subscribers now.
Amazing.
Yeah, which, as you know, is very difficult to get to.
Very difficult.
Very difficult. And we have not had like a lot of times. I have another friend who had what do you call it? A viral video. He
Yeah.
recorded. He's a percussionist, incredibly talented. Um, Made a video of him playing all these different drums, and he edited it together, and it was great.
Uh-huh.
And put it up. I mean, we all make projects that are great for
Yeah.
YouTube. His within a week had like 3 million hits. And I think
Oh,
it's
wow.
like close to 10 million now, right? And and he has, 25,000 subscribers or something like that.
Right.
But like they're not when you have a viral thing like that, a lot of people will just hit subscribe because you asked them to, but they'll never actually watch any more of your things after that.
That's true. Yeah.
And so like it's not like any of his other projects are moving in that way.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Where I've had, a lot of sort of regular releases on how to write for big bands. So a lot of people that were starting to learn from other videos be like,
Yeah.
"Oh, I need to learn how to do this other thing," and they'd come back. Um,
Right. To see what you're up to.
yeah, and then what happened from that is I started getting people sending me personal emails because I my email is easy to find on my website,
Yeah, it is.
asking me about lessons, and I had never took arranging lessons.
Oh, okay.
Right? Like I took a couple of arranging classes.
Right.
And then while I was arranging it, at some point I'd hit a wall. Like there were a couple of times when I was learning how to arrange, right? I felt like I hit a wall in
Yeah.
my thing. And I'd approach, my heroes basically. Um, like at one point, I sent an email to Kim Richmond, like, would you listen to my stuff and give me some advice or whatever? And he had me over at his house and was, showing me, asking me like, why did you do this instead of this? And, think about music this way.
How cool.
Um, my first interactions with John Clayton were because I wanted to get arranging lessons. Um, and he said, like, I don't teach lessons anymore.
Right.
But if you want, I'll listen to your record and then we can like hang out and I'll give you my thoughts.
Oh, that's cool.
And we did, and it was awesome.
Yeah.
And so like I had a little bit of instruction, but not like regular
Yeah, yeah,
instruction the same way. But I found myself teaching a lot of students. It became a real big chunk of my income was
yeah.
arranging lessons. Since I haven't been releasing as many tutorials lately,
Yeah.
they've settled down a little bit, but I'm still doing like at least 3 or 4 lessons a week over Zoom.
That's amazing.
Yeah, but for a while it was like nearly 10 a week.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's an incredible pivot uh
Yeah.
from the pandemic video thing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I still put out music. And what was helpful too was like people learning how to write from my videos would then discover my music.
Right.
Um, and that has worked out really, really well.
That's a nice little cross-pollination.
Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah,
Got
yeah.
a few really cool opportunities. I got to orchestrate a bunch of cues for this documentary on oh, what's his name? The guy that sang That's Amore.
Oh,
Dean Martin.
yeah. Oh my
Yeah,
God.
I did
Yeah,
this Dean
no.
Martin documentary. The composer was trying to learn how to write big band cues by watching my videos, and he eventually emailed me and was like, "Can you take a look at what I wrote?" And I took a look at it, and he's like, "Actually, would you rather just reorchestrate them?" And I was like, "Great."
Right.
And so I got to work on it. It was really amazing.
Well, that's actually
Um,
another question. Have you pursued at all kind of composition for film and TV stuff?
it's interesting. I would really love to do it, but I have no idea how to pursue it.
Yeah, nobody does, I don't think.
Yeah. I know that back in the 60s and 70s, all the big band arrangers also wrote for TV.
Yes, of course. Yeah, it's an easy crossover.
But I feel like in today's market, there are a lot of people who are going to school specifically for TV and film
Yeah,
music. And so there are a lot of people coming out of school that are like so geared to that it's
yeah.
difficult for someone for people that aren't focused in that way to kind of edge in.
I don't know. It seems like the person who did it like the most seamlessly of anybody was Quincy Jones, and he certainly didn't go to school for that. So,
Well, yeah, for sure. But I mean, but again, Quincy Jones made that pivot in the 60s.
yes, he did.
I don't know if that if a big band person can do that in 2025. Like
I
the
don't know.
industry's a bit different. I don't know.
But
Maybe I'm wrong.
that same
If you
theory,
have
right?
any connections, let me know. I would love to do it.
I know, I know. I will. I will actually. I mean, yes, I will for sure.
Yeah,
So, so thank you so much. I mean, I've been so honored to have so much of your time. I know you're a very busy man. Tell the folks what they have to look forward to that's kind of coming out in the future and stuff like that.
absolutely. So in the near future, we're going to be playing the Pandemonium Big Band. By the way, youtube.com/Pandemonium Big Band is how you
Nice.
can find the channel. It's called Pandemonium Big Band. Um, and you find me on Apple Music and Spotify under Elliot Deutsch. That'll bring up Elliot Deutsch Big Band also.
Yeah.
And you can see Pandemonium Big Band at the West Ranch Super Jazz Festival on May 17th, which is a
Oh, great.
Saturday.
That's coming right up.
Coming right up. And then
And where
my
is the
other,
place?
yeah, what?
Where is that place?
Oh, that's in Santa Clarita. Sorry. Santa
Okay.
Clarita, California. And I think admission is 10 or $15. I'm not sure. We're
Very
playing at 7:30 p.m. in the concert hall.
fancy.
And yeah, and if you get there at 5 o'clock, maybe you can sit in. I'm giving a master class on arranging for big band as well.
Oh, very cool. Yeah, the folks should know about that for
Yeah.
sure too.
Um,
And
and
what's
then
that part?
yeah, what?
What's the cost for that part?
I have no idea. I think that's for the students. So if you just walk in, they'll
Okay,
probably
see?
just let you in.
Okay, got it.
Um, And I also my other musical project that I've started this year, or I guess last year, within the last year, is called Wildfire Brass Band.
Oh, I saw that. And of course, my friend
Yeah,
Colin is your alto player,
yeah,
which
Colin
is
Kupka,
yep.
incredible. He plays in Pandemonium Big Band also.
Yes.
Colin is great,
Yeah.
and we have a an EP that's out on Apple Music and Spotify. Just look for Wildfire Brass Band.
Awesome.
You'll find it. It's great, and we have some performances coming up as well. We're playing a benefit for the Global Music Fund. I
Okay.
think that's what it's called, at Benny Boy Brewery, in the Arts District of downtown on May 19th.
Oh, you
That's
got right in a row, 17th and 19th.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, different bands though.
Yeah.
And then continuing the train of right in a row, the 23rd, which is the Friday after that, we're playing at the LA County Fair as part of LA Next Fest.
Very cool. Oh, that's going to be really fun.
It's gonna be really fun, and we're on a bill with all LA brass bands. So
Oh, how
Fire Brass
awesome.
Band's gonna be playing with Top Shelf
Yep.
and Blow Brass and the Brass Age.
Really cool.
I'm very excited for them to hear us and for us to hear them. It's gonna be a really, really fun exchange.
Yeah, I was seeing some of your stuff online and it's amazing. I love it.
Thank
It's
you.
really cool. Very exciting stuff. Yeah.
I'm very proud of that one.
Well, thank you again. I really appreciate you joining me today. I've gotten so much out of talking to you. It is amazing what it takes to lead a band. Let me thank you for your incredible artistry, your incredible talent, all the work that you do, and of course the work of your musicians. You guys make some really gorgeous, gorgeous stuff, and I hope to run into you at the psych band whenever day.
Absolutely. Thank you.
It'd be super fun to play together. So,
Absolutely.
yes, make sure everybody and go see Elliot Deutsch. Check him out on the digital things and Pandemonium Band on YouTube. And let's see, May 17th, 19th, and 23rd. You have options.
Oh yeah.
See this guy. So thank you again, Elliot. Really appreciate it, and hopefully we'll see you soon.
And that's a wrap for today's episode of Life as a Band Leader. We hope you had as much fun listening as we did making the music. If you loved what you heard, go ahead and hit follow, share it with a friend, and make sure to get tickets to the next show. Visit outrageous8.com for upcoming shows, music, and a little more band madness. Until next time, keep swinging, keep smiling, and keep the music alive.